There is a machine on an island the size of Maryland. It weighs 150 tons, roughly the weight of 2 Airbus A320s. It costs $380 million. It takes 250 crates, 250 engineers, and 6 months to assemble. And only one company on Earth makes it. Without it, your iPhone stops. Your car stops. Every Nvidia GPU running ChatGPT stops. Every F-35 fighter jet stops. Roughly 10% of global GDP gone. That machine is built in the Netherlands. It is shipped to Taiwan, and right now, two of the most powerful nations on the planet are waging a quiet war over who gets to use it. This is the semiconductor war. It involves $165 billion fabs, secret kill switches, mineral export bans, and a single island producing roughly 90% of the world's most advanced chips. Let's start with the choke point no one can replace. Most people have heard of Nvidia. Many have heard of TSMC. Almost nobody outside the industry has heard of ASML, headquartered in Veldhoven, a quiet Dutch town of 45,000 people. ASML makes one thing: extreme ultraviolet lithography machines, or EUV. These are the machines that print transistors onto silicon at the scale of a few atoms. Every advanced chip, every Apple A series, every Nvidia H100, every leading-edge memory die is made on a machine ASML built. Until very recently, they were the only company on Earth that produced them. There was no number two. The numbers are absurd. Each EUV machine contains roughly 100,000 components sourced from around 800 suppliers globally. Inside, a laser fires at molten tin droplets 50,000 times per second, creating plasma that emits a wavelength of light so short it can only travel through a vacuum. The mirrors, made by German firm Zeiss, are polished so precisely that scaled to the size of Germany, the largest imperfection would be a fraction of a millimeter. The latest generation, the high-NA EUV, costs $380 million per unit, weighs 150 tons, requires 250 crates to ship, and takes 250 engineers 6 months to assemble. ASML shipped 44 EUV systems in 2024 alone. Full-year revenue hit 28 billion euros, 3 billion, with a net income of 7.6 billion euros and an order backlog of roughly 36 billion euros. ASML has never sold a single EUV machine to China, not one. Under pressure from the US and Dutch governments, EUV exports to China were blocked starting in 2019, with controls tightened progressively through 2024. China accounted for nearly half of ASML's revenue in mid-2024, but that was a stockpiling rush in older technology. ASML's guidance for 2025 drops China's share to around 20%.
And here's the update that changes everything. In December 2025, Reuters reported that China had completed a working EUV prototype in a high-security facility in Shenzhen, built by former ASML engineers recruited with signing bonuses of up to $700,000. The machine cannot yet make chips. It remains 2 to 3 generations behind ASML's commercial systems. But the prototype exists, and the timeline for Chinese chip independence just compressed by roughly a decade.
If ASML is the choke point on tooling, TSMC, Taiwan's semiconductor manufacturing company, is the choke point on production. In 2024, TSMC posted $90 billion in revenue, up 30% year-over-year at a gross margin of 56%. Q1 2025 revenue alone was $25.5 billion, up 42% year-over-year. TSMC commands roughly 2/3 of the entire global foundry market by revenue, but the number that truly matters, at the leading edge, sub-3 nanometer chips, the ones running AI, TSMC's market share is effectively 100%. Their customer list reads like a who's who of the world's most valuable companies. Apple is roughly 22% of revenue. Nvidia is around 12%. After that, AMD, Qualcomm, Broadcom, MediaTek, and now Intel, which buys advanced silicon from its supposed rival because it cannot match TSMC's yields. Remove TSMC and roughly $14 trillion of combined market cap is in trouble. Why is TSMC irreplaceable? 3 reasons.
First, technology. TSMC's 3nm yields are reportedly above 80%. Samsung's 3nm yields were stuck around 20% as of mid-2024, which is why Samsung's own flagship phones abandoned in-house chips and went 100% Qualcomm. Second, scale. TSMC operates 6 gigafabs in Taiwan and is building 9 new facilities in 2025 alone. Third, packaging. Modern AI chips require TSMC's advanced CoWoS packaging, which only TSMC produces at scale. The CoWoS bottleneck, not the silicon itself, has been the true constraint on AI hardware supply since 2023. And TSMC sits 110 miles off the coast of China. This is why the company is building everywhere. The original Arizona commitment in 2020 was $12 billion. By March 2025, TSMC announced a total U.S. investment of $165 billion, the largest greenfield foreign direct investment in U.S. history, covering 6 fabs in Arizona alone. Japan's JASM fab opened in February 2024, Dresden, Germany broke ground in August 2024, but the critical point, the 2nm node goes into mass production in Taiwan in the second half of 2025. Arizona's 2nm doesn't come online until 2027 at the earliest. Until then, the world's most advanced chips can only be made in one place.
Then there's Nvidia, the chip company that has never made a chip. Jensen Huang's company designs GPUs. It does not own a single fab. Every H100, every B200, every Blackwell superchip is manufactured by TSMC. Nvidia's $5 trillion market cap is built on top of one company in Taiwan and one company in the Netherlands. Remove either, and Nvidia is, for years, a logo. The financial growth is almost incomprehensible. Nvidia's fiscal 2025 revenue was $130.5 billion, up 114% year-over-year. Data center revenue hit $115.2 billion, up 142%. The data center segment now represents roughly 88% of Nvidia's entire business. The H100 sells for $25,000 to $40,000 per unit. The new Blackwell B200, with 208 billion transistors and 192 gigabytes of high-bandwidth memory, costs around $30,000 to $40,000 per chip, with a full rack running roughly $3 million. Nvidia reportedly has a backlog of around 3.6 million Blackwell units, sold out through mid-2026. The buyers? Microsoft, Meta, Google, Amazon, Oracle, and a new class of pure-play AI infrastructure firms. Jensen Huang himself claims the top hyperscalers will spend roughly $600 billion per year on AI infrastructure going forward. Most of it flows through Nvidia silicon. Nvidia's market share in AI accelerators is roughly 80 to 90% by revenue. The real moat is the CUDA software ecosystem, built over 20 years, which locks developers in regardless of what hardware competitors offer. On October 29, 2025, Nvidia became the first company in history to close above a $5 trillion market cap. On the other side of the table, China has been spending billions to build its own chip stack. The moment that shocked Washington came on August 29, 2023, when Huawei quietly launched the Mate 60 Pro smartphone. Inside, the Kirin 9000S, fabricated by China's SMIC on a homegrown 7nm process without a single EUV machine, using multi-patterning on older DUV tools to brute force the geometry. It was inefficient, it was expensive, and it worked. Today, SMIC produces 7nm chips at yields estimated around 50%, roughly 5 to 6 years behind TSMC. Huawei has followed up with the Ascend 910C AI accelerator, reportedly delivering around 60% of H100 inference performance, but at nearly 4 times the power consumption. Then came DeepSeek. In January 2025, the Chinese AI lab released its R1 reasoning model, reportedly trained on a cluster of Nvidia Hopper-class GPUs, with DeepSeek claiming a final training cost of around $5.6 million. That figure sparked enormous debate about AI compute efficiency. On January 27, 2025, Nvidia's market cap dropped roughly $600 billion in a single session, the largest single-day loss in stock market history. Behind the scenes, China is building at scale. The Big Fund Phase 3, raised in 2024, is approximately $47.5 billion, larger than the entire U.S. CHIPS Act manufacturing fund. YMTC has shipped world-leading 232-layer NAND. CXRMT has doubled DRAM wafer output and is beginning first-generation HBM production. What China still cannot do, mass-produce chips below 5 nanometers at commercial scale, or build an EUV machine. The Shenzhen prototype is a milestone, but a prototype generating EUV light is a very different thing from a machine making chips at yield. ASML's CEO himself has said China would need many years to replicate commercial EUV capability. The gap is real, but for the first time it has a closing date on it.
The American strategy is clear. Deny China the tools to climb the technology curve. May 2019, Huawei goes on the Entity List. August 2020, the Foreign Direct Product Rule extends U.S. jurisdiction to any chip in the world made with U.S. tools. TSMC stops making chips for Huawei. October 2022, first sweeping AI chip controls, Nvidia's A100 and H100 banned from China. October 2023, Washington closes the loophole. The A800 and H800 downbinned chips, which Nvidia had designed specifically for China, are now also banned. In the window before this rule, Nvidia sold over $9 billion of these chips to China. Those chips became the DeepSeek training cluster. December 2024, third major package. New controls on high-bandwidth memory. 24 categories of semiconductor equipment, 140 new entities added to the list. The Allies followed. The Netherlands added national controls in September 2023. Japan imposed controls on 23 categories of equipment in July 2023, covering Tokyo Electron, Nikon, and others. China retaliated through minerals. In December 2024, Beijing banned exports of gallium, germanium, and antimony to the United States, metals that China dominates globally. In early 2025 came tungsten, tellurium, bismuth, indium, and molybdenum. In April 2025, export controls were placed on 7 heavy rare earth elements. Antimony prices surged from roughly $1,400 per ton in mid-2024 to around $60,000 per ton by mid-2025, a 4,000% increase. The architecture of mutual economic hostage-taking is now fully in place.
Now the central question. What if China takes Taiwan? Taiwan produces roughly 92% of the world's most advanced logic chip capacity. Bloomberg Economics estimates that a war over Taiwan would cost the global economy around $10 trillion in year one, roughly 10% of global GDP, larger than COVID, the 2008 financial crisis, and the Ukraine war combined. The sequence of collapse is mapped. Smartphones go first, then automotive. The 2021 chip shortage cost the auto industry $210 billion from a relatively minor disruption in legacy chips. Then data centers, then defense. The F-35 fighter, advanced radar, precision weapons, all dependent on TSMC fabbed silicon. There are 2 safety mechanisms. First, TSMC's former chairman has said publicly that an invasion would render TSMC's factories non-operable. Fabs require constant real-time connection to ASML, software updates, and supply chains to function. You can capture the buildings, you cannot run them. Second, in a May 2024 Bloomberg report, ASML reportedly has the capability to remotely disable EUV machines at TSMC if China invades, a kill switch, built into the machines during routine servicing. ASML has not officially confirmed this. But the strategic signal is clear. China has been pressing. The PLA's joint sword exercises have escalated. 111 aircraft and 53 naval vessels in May 2024, 153 aircraft sorties in October 2024, and roughly 90 vessels deployed around Taiwan in December 2024, the largest maritime mobilization since 1996. The U.S. approved an $11.15 billion arms package for Taiwan in December 2025. Taiwan is pushing defense spending toward 3.3% of GDP in 2026 and aiming for 5% by 2030. The silicon shield is real. It has never been tested.
The insurance policy is expensive and slow. The U.S. CHIPS Act committed $52.7 billion, $39 billion in manufacturing incentives, plus a 25% investment tax credit. Awards have been finalized. TSMC received $6.6 billion in grants. Micron received $6.165 billion. Intel received $7.86 billion, the largest single award. Intel is the complication. Once America's proudest chip name, Intel posted a $16.6 billion quarterly loss in Q3 2024, the largest in its history. Foundry losses for the full year exceeded $13 billion. CEO Pat Gelsinger was forced out in December 2024. The Ohio fab, originally promised for 2025, has slipped to 2030 or 2031. In August 2025, the U.S. government took a 9.9% equity stake in Intel, essentially a strategic bailout. Washington is no longer willing to let Intel fail. It is also no longer counting on Intel to lead. The EU CHIPS Act has mobilized 43 billion euros, targeting 20% of global chip production by 2030. Japan's Rapidus project is targeting 2 nm production in Hokkaido by 2027, starting from a current best of 40 nm. South Korea has announced a $471 billion private investment cluster. Samsung's Taylor, Texas fab, originally planned for 2024, is now targeting late 2026. All of this is real. All of it takes time. The window from 2025 to 2027 is when the world is most exposed. TSMC's most advanced work concentrated on a single island, with no commercial alternative yet operational.
This is not a coming conflict. It is a war already underway, fought in Federal Register notices, export license denials, mineral bans, and the quiet construction of $165 billion factories on 3 continents. The shape is clear. The West controls the design tools, ASML's lithography, Nvidia's CUDA, Zeiss's optics, SK Hynix's memory, the entire IP layer. China is racing to build a parallel stack. Domestic lithography, domestic memory, domestic AI accelerators, while using its dominance over gallium, germanium, rare earths, and tungsten as leverage when sanctions tighten. Taiwan, with TSMC at its center, is both the prize and the tripwire. By 2027, Arizona's 2 nm comes online. Rapidus is scheduled to ship. Dresden begins production. The world will know whether the silicon shield has been successfully diversified or whether one island still holds the global economy hostage. The companies that matter are now visible. ASML in the Netherlands, TSMC in Taiwan, Nvidia in California, SK Hynix in Korea, Huawei and SMIC in China, Intel trying to come back, and in the gaps between them, a few dozen suppliers whose names you have never heard, whose continued operation determines whether the modern world keeps working. The semiconductor war is the defining economic and geopolitical story of our time, and most people still have no idea it's happening. Subscribe to Titans of Trade for more on the companies and geopolitical forces quietly reshaping the world.